So tonight's guest, you can see him up in the top corner there. His name is Lindsay Hamon. He is a street chaplain and he works in Brisbane in Beenleigh. He's the Beenleigh branch coordinator for an organisation called Rosies. He'll tell us all about that. But Rosies is friends on the street. But Lindsay, you can open that up a bit more for us. So in that sort of pastoral care space, working with homeless in the street space. So I'm very excited tonight to hear from Lindsay. So we should give him a little golf clap, hey? So welcome, welcome, Lindsay.
Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, mate, it's all yours.
I've known Jeremy for a little while now. Yes, I work with Rosies. We coordinate the Beenleigh area. Beenleigh is kind of, those who are not aware, is kind of south of Brisbane. It sits basically between Brisbane and the Gold Coast. It's part of Logan City. Logan City is, I think, one of the most depressed cities in Australia in regard to the demographic. A lot of homeless. Rosie's role, in our particular area, we have 2 vans. We basically go out Monday nights, Saturday nights, and Wednesday mornings. Wednesday mornings we serve breakfast at a place called Hugh Munt's Park. And the other 2 nights we serve meals at a couple of different locations. Some interesting things happening in the homeless space, and some of you may very well be already involved in that space, but it is rapidly, I would say rapidly changing, especially over the last 2 years. Guys, get the picture. It's really interesting working. I've been working now with homeless for about 5 years pre-COVID, and basically in that pastoral care space. One of the things I do like about Rosies in particular, it is mainly about pastoral care. While we feed people and we give them cups of coffee with lots of sugar, if there's one drug that's predominant out there, it's sugar. I've never served a homeless a cup of coffee with less than 2 teaspoons of sugar, and sometimes 5, sometimes 10. We also serve cordial, and often that sweet cordial makes it tough. So it's a really interesting little side note there that sugar is probably the #1 drug. Along those lines, it's interesting. You saw that first clip of the car park at Hugh Munt's Park, which is like I say, right almost in the middle of Beenleigh. Probably 8 years ago was in Seattle and in Vancouver, and I looked at the homeless situation there, and there were tents everywhere. And you come back to Australia, and even 3 or 4 years ago, we never ever saw what we're seeing now in regard to homeless. It is just, and like I say, especially over the last year. Two big camps in Beenleigh. One the councils has shifted a lot of people out of, that had about 100 residents, and like I say, this one's got about 40. There's one just down the road, probably got about another 25. So that situation is changing very, very rapidly. Now, again, we sort of come back to the pastoral care. It's interesting. People have different ideas around who the homeless are. I guess my easiest answer to who they are is they're basically me, you, and the guy next door. And at Rosie's, it's again, it's about conversations, and it's just amazing what you learn from chatting to people on the street. There's kind of 3 groups. One's a mental health group where there's some major mental health challenges. There's another group it's a group that's heavily involved in drugs. And there's another group that kind of just comes and goes. They've fallen on hard times. They can't find a place to rent. They can't find a job. But all of them have one thing in common is, and well, from what I've discovered anyway, is they all just like to chat. They want somebody to chat to, somebody who will listen to them. I saw I mean, we talk about, in our training sessions, we talk about empathy. And interesting, if you look at the definition of empathy, I mean, just to take a standard definition, the action of understanding, being aware of, being sensitive to, and vicariously experiencing the feelings, thoughts, and experiences of another. And it's funny when you look at that normal Webster Dictionary definition of empathy, it's totally incorrect, because it's virtually impossible for any of us, and I'll talk about myself in particular, to actually experience the feelings and thoughts of another. What we teach in regard to empathy is just listen. Just listen. That's all. I guess 90% of a conversation, when we have conversations on the street, it's just about listening. And the person who is doing the talking, and I can tell you that often you'll have the same conversation over and over and over, because I'll tell you the same story. That's all they want. They just want someone to listen to them who can just kind of agree and say, yes, that's great. How are you feeling? We ask particular questions on the street. And my number one question just as we've come through winter is, and it always starts a conversation, is, are you warm? And I can tell you, even though it's Queensland, a lot of people during the winter are not warm. So we cater to that particular challenge. We never ask, are you hungry? We always just invite people up to eat. People don't like to say. That's the same reason we ask. Are you cold? We don't ask, are you cold? Because we try and keep the conversations as positive as possible. Like I say, major issue mental health is just rampant, and more rampant than I've ever seen it. And I don't want to get political, but I think some people have been almost driven into a state of mental health. They can't, when you can't find a house to rent, and you can't find a job, then to be almost too blunt, it just drives you nuts, and you do end up living on the street. The other sad, tragic thing we're seeing on the street is an increase in women. A lot of domestic violence situations where they've been left without any recourse but to go on the street. And again, and quite frankly, they don't want to talk to me. Interesting. Very rarely will they talk to me, but they love talking to my wife or the females. My wife and I, we're 70 years of age. And my wife comes across definitely as probably as a very motherly, wonderful listening ear, and they just love talking to her. And again, it's just about letting their feelings go. So as chaplains, as pastoral care workers, I mean, you can do this whole course, and I've been heavily involved in developing this course. The one thing over and over and over and over is just being able to listen. And we just say, shut up and listen. Shut up and listen. In saying that, we make sure that people, there's a lot of lack of basic needs too. So we meet those needs as quickly as we can. And when I say basic needs, everything from toothpaste to deodorant to a towel to a blanket, to a swag, and those sorts of things have to be taken care of. With our discussions and interaction with homeless, we always absolutely try and respect and have them maintain their dignity. It's yeah, it's extremely important. One of the misconceptions is that, and I'll touch on this a little bit before, is that all homeless people are dangerous or addicted to substances. And while these things are prevalent, they're certainly not. They're not universal. And I would, my guess is that probably maybe 30% at the most are challenged by drug and alcohol addiction. The rest, it's a combination of just hard times. And again, you chat. I can tell you, if you go down to Human's Park, or one of the Saturday evening or a Monday evening meal, you're going to chat with people who are, just off the top of my head, ex-boat builders, ex-PR, certainly mothers who with children, and I guess that's the other thing, just quick increase in the number of children that are now homeless because the parents are homeless, and it's tough. And working in this environment, and I've just got a couple of minutes left. There's a few things that we constantly remind our volunteers of. And in Queensland, we have about 1,800 volunteers, 22 branches, which is about 40 vans going out 3, 4, 5, sometimes 5 or 6 times a week. I mean, in Brisbane City, they would feed or good cups of coffee to at least 100 on a night. Few Monks Park, sorry, just jumping around a bit, back to numbers. I was there last Wednesday. I think there's about 55 people. So it's big problem. Again, if somebody needs help, like I say, we listen, and then if there's a particular problem, and we learn this all through the chaplaincy course. Chaplaincy is about listening and referring. So probably can't see that, but Logan Street Services Guide. We don't have the experience in employment and training. We don't have the experience in domestic violence. We don't have the experience in health, but we do have the ability to point people in the right direction. And that's all chaplaincy, pastoral care is about. It's about listening and referring over and over. I think the other thing you deal with is that there's a lot of misconceptions about the homeless out there. Again, mainly they're looked down on. Unfortunately, there's very few answers. I mean, I see Nate there. Nate is heavily involved with Logan City Council, and we lobby Logan City Council quite frequently, but there's very few answers to the homeless situation right now. That so we're left in a situation where we have to support, like I say, the numbers that are out there. We do try and move people from being homeless through programs such as I referred to there, and also we have a program within Rosies called Heartworks, where we do try and place people in work as well, if they're willing. That's a new initiative. Any questions?
Yeah, Catherine here. I was just wondering, do you
Yes.
I don't know if my video is showing. I've clicked the button a few times.
Yeah.
I'm actually just up at Redcliffe on the other
lovely.
side.
Yes.
Yeah, we've got a growing community on the old bridge.
Yep, you do.
That's going. Do you find that, because I know one of the big problems there is the council and the government actually moving them on for special occasions? Do you have that problem down there as well, where camps or locations are asked to find somewhere else?
They get moved on if there's some sort of event they get moved often get moved when there's an election pending, and they do not want this, what's the word? I don't know how, you know, how a politician would word it. They don't want that their patch being invaded by a lot of people in tents.
Yes.
They just, yeah. But the problem is, I mean, I know, I mean, like I say, the council's done a lot of work at with the place we call the wetlands recently, and you know, I know where they've gone. I mean, a lot of them have gone to just down the road to Bethane. I mean, all that happens is that the problem gets shifted. It's just you know, a matter of, you know, geographically, it's the geographic change. It's not a change in their circumstance or anything like that.
Thank you.
But it's well, it's an eye opener to work on the street. It absolutely is. Interesting though, I think even 5 or 6 years ago, the homeless population in Australia was invisible. Now they're becoming like, and if you've traveled in other parts of the world, the homeless are extremely visible. Sides of motorways, roundabouts. We're seeing that fast happening here in Australia, way more than I've ever seen it. So, but so there's a lot of opportunities there to work and to help and to, you know, be supportive in that whole chaplaincy pastoral care space.
Very good, Lindsay. Any other questions or comments that you'd like to make, Neil?
Hey, Lindsay, when would be a good time to actually hook up with you guys? Because I'm actually a local and I want to try to get in some volunteer hours. When would be a good time to hook up with you guys, office wise, or heck, just because I know, yeah, where you showed on that video, I know that's right by the marketplace. So what would be a good time to swing on by? And do I got to get a really cool T-shirt as well, or what? You know, what can I do to help out?
You got to pass this course.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. No,
I mean, I don't think Nate has any confidence in me, but I mean, I'll try to sway him.
You can contact me through Nate, or you can just jump on the Rosies website and lodge or come along as a guest. So just contact me through Nate or through Rose Training.
Okay.
I'm Lindsay at Rose Training, if that helps.
Yeah, I think I sent you guys an email not too long ago, but yeah, I'm just wanting to
absolutely
be a bit more proactive and trying to help on out.
Yeah, good. Well, volunteers always gratefully accepted.
Very good. Cool. There you go, Neil. See,
gratefully welcome. There you go.
Get those 100 hours up, mate. Fantastic.
Well, that's it. I mean, I want to get proactive. I got to get to it. So
you're good. Okay. Interesting enough. Sorry, Jeremy. Our female volunteers outnumber our male volunteers probably 10 to 1.
Wow.
Interesting enough. It's just, yeah. And oh gosh, please don't take this wrong, but it's always good to have a male in the group, especially if you have a tough situation. You know, it's just one of those things. I mean,
you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
A bit of balance, but in saying that, our female volunteers are absolutely freaking amazing people. Yeah. So, thank you, everybody. Great to see you. Great to see the class. I've done a lot in the background for this class, and me and Nate actually, and Zach. Well, Zach hasn't done much, but yeah.
He rarely does.
He keeps the technical side of it all happening, and we really appreciate it. So thanks.
Don't go just yet.
Okay, mate.
Don't go just yet. I just want to make sure everyone had the opportunity. Sue or Atiz, Judy, did you want to make a comment or question? Sue?
Hi, Lindsay. Just a quick question, really out of interest. What is your background and what brought you into chaplaincy?
Probably more pastoral care than chaplaincy. Interesting enough, as I was thinking about this tonight, my father was actually spent many years as a prison chaplain and then as a hospital chaplain. So maybe it's just in the genetics. But my wife and I were looking for an opportunity. This was about 5 years ago. I'm meant to be retired. I'm not, but we're kind of looking for something we could do to just help in the community. And we've always been in the community, but something a bit more, what's the word? Yeah, we were looking to spend a bit more time in the community, and it just brought. I mean, I spent some time in mental health quite a few years ago. Yeah, just an interest in helping out.
Very good.
Nothing in particular.
Excellent.
I can
Anyone
ask
else?
a question.
Yes.
Sure.
Can I ask them?
Please. Yeah.
This could be slightly a general question, but I can refer it to you as well. Do you have to be a member to a church to be a
No.
chaplain?
No. Rosies especially is non-denominational, even though it was started by a Catholic group called the Oblates, which is a monastic group. No, most of your volunteer many of your volunteer organizations are not religious based, and Rosies is one that has religious backgrounds but does not. I mean, we've got atheists and Catholics and Mormons and Presbyterians and
Okay, people in Perth might be a bit more religious than it is in Brisbane.
Oh,
Because
come
I've
on.
contacted a few people for the 100-hour,
Yeah.
and all actually ask if I'm a member to any church or not, which kind of made me a bit worried now.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's work on that one. Yeah, I've got some.
Yeah, we're working on a database of organizations that our students can contact, just in case you come across those problems. And like here in Queensland, I know there's plenty. So where are you again, Hatis? In Perth?
In Perth.
I'm in Perth, yes.
Perth, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll start working on the database just to try and help out a little bit.
I was actually quite disappointed when I went to a place for the 100-hour. Just giving that spiritual support, and like I'm not Christian, and just it was a bit of a shocking for her to have someone doing a chaplaincy and pastoral care and providing a spiritual support. She just didn't understand, and that just didn't sink into her. And we kind of had a bit of an issue with that.
That's a
I
shame.
absolutely know the feeling. I mean, a lot of people don't understand. To give spiritual support, you don't actually have to be religious, but that's
Okay, good to know.
Sorry, can I just ask a question?
Yes.
Are you only based in Queensland, or are you in other?
Rosie's is only based in Queensland.
Okay, cool.
Interesting. I've started actually in Victoria, but yeah, then it actually does a lot of work on what do they call that? The week the kids do high school
Stories.
schoolies as well.
Schoolies,
Actually, funny enough, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so,
You always look for the red shirt.
yeah, that's right. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, everybody. Back to you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Yours. Take care.
Beautiful. Okay. Louisa, did you have a question?
Oh,
Or are you
Sorry.
okay?
Oh yeah, I was just
oh, sorry.
it's okay. You've answered the question. I was just going to say how do we get started and involved in these groups as volunteers, which is probably what you covered. Correct? Just
Yeah, just look around. There's lots of lists. Like I said, in Queensland, there's multiple organisations, as there is in other states. So yeah. All right, take care, people.
Very good. Okay, thanks, Lindsay. Appreciate your
Thanks,
time,
guys.
mate. Thank you very much. Beautiful. Well, there we go. That's just another sort of sector, isn't it? Another area of chaplaincy or pastoral care. We're gonna talk about this a little bit tonight, actually, just the difference between chaplaincy and pastoral care, and just get a little bit more understanding around that space. But certainly, the thing that strikes me, not just listening to Lindsay, but over the years, and particularly with the sectors growing, I really do think there's something for everybody. If you've got a passion area, it might not be street. You might be listening to Lindsay and thinking, nah, I just couldn't do that. That was me in the prison space. I tried that and I just kept pushing myself every week, rock up to the prison, every Sunday morning. in the end, it just wasn't me. You know, it's not that I don't love people. It's not that I, you know, don't have empathy, but it just wasn't my space. It just, and it's interesting listening to Lindsay. On our team, we had this lady who was probably 50, you know, around that age, and the young guys in the detention center there absolutely loved her. They couldn't wait for her, you know, to come on Sunday morning. And then when they got released, she was waiting for him at the gate. And, you know, she found her space, you know. And so if this, you know, as we work through the course, you're hearing different people. Not everyone, you know, not every space you will sort of feel to move into, or, you know, that's okay. There's 100 spaces, you know, there's 100 different sectors that, and somewhere you will find something.